Today I have a little Ralf Aust 5/8 French point carbon steel. These are wonderful little razors. And very, very good value. They're great shavers and a great value in a straight razor or in a new straight razor. And so today I'm going to, this needs a refresh. Let me show that to you. Not you know, it's not terrible. I can definitely push this into the packing peanut, so it's not terrible, but it needs a refresh. And so I thought I would do that refresh on my Japanese natural stone. This is an Ozuku. I don't think you've seen this before, and I bought this from a reputable seller who told me that it's an Ozuku and it's also written on the side of the stone, so I've got that going for me. Anyway, I haven't used this stone in a while, and I thought, you know, it'd be worthwhile trying something besides my Nakayama. This is a 5+ in hardness, as is the Nakayama. And I bought this primarily for knives, but it's a great stone. It's a ultra finisher for knives, and it's an absolutely great stone for razors. So the real question is, well, where do you start? And I'm going to use here. I have the typical Makawa Asano trio of Nagura, and I have the where's the botan? Here's the botan. I have the botan, which is the coarsest of the three. Then there's the tenju, which is the sort of a medium grit, and then here is the Mahiro, here we go. There are the stamps. There's a Mahiro, and this is the finest of the three Nagura, finest abrasive of these three Nagura. And then, of course, I have the base Ozuku stone. So, you know, this isn't that bad. I think I'm going to start in, and you know, I can start in kind of randomly. I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to pick the Mahiro as the place to start. This is, again, the finest of these three. You know, if it's not progressing fast enough, if sharpness isn't progressing fast enough, I can drop down to a coarser grit, or I can just spend more time with this Mahiro slurry. Might be Majiro, I don't actually know, as you might expect. I barely speak English. This stone, the Ozuku, has been flattened using my flattening plate. I am gonna, as I did before, I'm gonna build a fairly thick slurry. Let that kind of massage the apex as I reduce material on each bevel. Get myself set up here with my towel system, and all right, let's see where we are here. Make sure we don't have any random particles standing around. We do not. The surface of this stone actually feels much harder than the Nakayama. The pace that I'm going here is designed to give me the most feel and feedback. You can hear the razor singing a little bit. That's not a big deal. I want, I want the goal of this to allow me to be mindful of what's happening at the edge. Try to pick up some of this stuff. It'll migrate its way back to the other side. That's all right. I'm picking up enough to do real work here. And what I'm doing at the moment is going slowly enough that I can feel the edge as it moves across the stone and through the slurry. And I'm simply looking for any changes that I might feel in the edge. In terms of alignment, I want to see the same behavior in each direction, which actually I'm seeing now. So I'm certain that the edge is directly under the spine, so I don't have to worry about counting, which, by the way, if the edge were not directly underneath the spine, if it was one way or the other, then doing equal work on both sides would not rectify that problem. So, being able to be mindful of the condition of each item that you sharpen gives you the chance, if you can detect, what to do, gives you the chance of doing the best job. All right, I think it's important here to see if we're making progress or if I'm wasting time talking to you, or wasting your time talking to you. I'm always wasting my own time. All right, here we go. Let's see what we're doing. Do we have consistency? Not too consistent, not too sharp there. Not too sharp there. Getting there. Not too sharp there. Yeah, let's try a little bit more on the on this, and then maybe we'll drop back. I added a little bit of water primarily for lubrication. It does thin out. It does thin out the slurry, and that's never a great, well, it's not a great thing in this case, because the slurry is what's doing the cutting, and the slurry is not the most efficient cutting mechanism. So having a nice thickness of abrasive to move over and through is better than having a thin amount. So let's see if I've done any improvement. If not, I'm going to drop back. Split again. Yeah, see, now you can, here's the thing where you can see the way the slurry is moving on this side is quite different from the way it moves on this side. So I'm going to put in a little more work here and see if I can rectify that. Aha, see, that's a little better. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about. And really, that was less about feel and more about just observing what was happening. Gotta reinforce that situation here. If you put pressure on both ends, sometimes the center will flop around a little bit. So you want to sort of make sure you have pressure that gets evenly distributed. There we go. That's looking pretty good. All right, but now the $64,000 question here. That's a really old reference. Okay, so let's see how we're doing. Yeah, better. Yeah, better. Better. Yeah, so we're on our way here. Now the real question is, do we push this a little bit, or do we simply go to the Tomo? I'm tempted to push this a little bit. Yeah, I'm tempted to do that. So let's do that. You can tell this stone was bought for knives. Look at the width of it. You want to get as much material under something that's, you know, a knife is large. So I want to get as much material as I can. I'm pretty sure I know where I bought this. And like all Japanese naturals, it was expensive. I do not consider myself to be a connoisseur of Japanese natural stones. I know that, I mean, I have a whole shelf of them, but the people who really know what they're doing know that different stones and different nagura have their own relationship to different steels and even different tempers of those steels. And my solution, I know what to do in terms of braiding things, but my solution is typically, if it isn't working, if whatever combination I have isn't working, then I simply try something else. And if that's not working, then I go back to synthetic that I know will, you know, do almost everything I want. I mean, I would never, there's no way I would ever consider sharpening you know, one of the super steels on a natural stone. Those need diamond stones, and pretty much for everything else you can use synthetic stones. All right, let's do a little bit of this, and we'll talk about strokes. I'm using pretty much the same strokes that I showed you in or suggested in the fundamentals video, and we'll talk about that maybe. Maybe that's a good thing for me to chat about. I mean, if I'm going to bore you, I may as well bore you on a topic. All right. First of all, did we make any progress? Was that worth doing? And the answer is yes. Yeah, that was. Yes, we got a tiny bump. Yeah, we got a tiny bump there. The nice thing is we're evenly sharp across the edge. And so let's move on. So we can now, I'm gonna have to grab, yeah, we can now do a little tomo. And as always, I'm about to get I'm about to get some other Tomo Nagura because, you know, when in doubt, spend more money on something you really don't know much about. And so, yeah, I'm about to get some more. But in the meantime, I simply raise a slurry using this little diamond plate. And you know, the movement of these slurries and the act of pushing them across the surfaces does definitely dish these stones. So they do need, you know, they do need to be flattened, assuming you want a flat surface. I'm going to do a discussion of convex hones or curved hones at some point. I'm going to try it. I'm trying to figure out how to do that without too much math and without too much material science, because, you know, although I'm sort of renowned for using that stuff to put people to sleep, and yes, I literally have had people tell me, you know, I watch your videos to go to sleep. You know, that would be, if I do too much of that, that's a sure winner when it comes to insomnia cures. So I'm working on that, and I do intend, before I do it, I intend to get at least in the U.S. here, some of the experts in the whole curved hone on the curved hone topic. I'm going to get them to weigh in, and I'll do my best to present their points of view from a benefits and drawbacks perspective, and then I intend to present mine, obviously. And I don't have, again, I don't think. I think in the end, if you have, you know, like here I am. If you have a method that you enjoy doing, then do it. I mean, you know, this stuff isn't rocket science, and I can actually speak with some authority on rocket science. So, you know, this isn't that. And in the end, we're really just doing something simple. And if your way of getting there is, you know, to use a curved hone, then, you know, and it satisfies you and anybody else that you sharpen for, then, you know, more power to you. You can't argue with that. At least I won't argue with that. All right, so let's keep spinning here. Don't want to do too much without paying attention here. I don't want to do too much talking without paying attention. As I mentioned, walking and chewing gum are a challenge for me. Okay. I don't know. I'm liking the way this feels. I might thin this up a little. I mean, we could be here in the home stretch. Let's talk a little bit. I mentioned I would talk a little bit about strokes. So I tend to only use what I feel like I need. You know, when you see me doing half strokes, they're not the traditional half stroke. That I have pressure here, but I also keep that pressure when I move backwards. So I've talked about this before. I do a leading edge and then trailing edge stroke. And, you know, there are a bunch of other strokes that you see people do. You know, you see people doing circles, you see people doing, you know, this kind of just half stroke where they do a half stroke, they lift it up, they do another half stroke. What else do you see? Oh, you know, the one that I dislike, the preponderance of this stroke as an X stroke, and the goal of rolling pressure as a way to equalize the work across the whole edge. That can be done. I mean, there's no question that can be done. At least no question in my mind. But you know, that's only one way to achieve that purpose. It's also a very good way if you have an edge that's not perfectly straight. It's a nice way to get to areas of the edge that you can't get to if the edge lies flat. But there are two purposes that you have when you're sharpening a razor. The first is to get the bevel geometry, to refine the bevel geometry so that your apex narrows. And you know, here I'm doing that. I'm also reducing the spine width, so I'm keeping the manufacturer's bevel angle. I'm maintaining that as I sharpen because I'm reducing everything in proportion. And so that's the first goal, is to reduce you know, the apex, the size of the apex. And as I've mentioned, the abrasive gives you a limit to how far you can go with that. Here, this abrasive slurry is bouncing up against that apex and sort of bead blasting it as I move across. So that action is, I like that action because it helps to keep the apex free of burr. And then this stroke, which is an X stroke for most people, is the motion of this stroke helps to tear any burr that's been pushed up, pushed up during this stroke, pushed up onto this side. When I come here and do this, that helps to remove that burr. And I don't typically think you need a lot of this, especially if you use slurry. Okay, so in terms of narrowing the apex, you can pretty much use whatever you want. I mean, you know, if I took the sandpaper model, if I laid this on a piece of sandpaper and I wanted to, you know, flatten, well, it doesn't really matter what direction I move to just flatten. So the other thing is you have the scratch pattern, and you know, something like circles, you could make the argument, well, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that that bevel is flat, right? So that would be the same sort of thing you see me do with a flattening plate, right? I move in a variety of directions to make sure that I spread the pressure as evenly as I can, rather than just going up and down where I might have more pressure here than here. So you can make the argument that, you know, circles does that for you. But that's not the only way to do it. You see me do it in another way. Okay, and then the final thing is that scratch pattern extends onto the apex. And the apex, that pattern is surprisingly, I mean, that's what cuts hair, right? And that's what you feel. And what's really surprising to me is how small that apex gets, and how much the character of the scratch pattern affects what I feel. Now, if I get these edges super keen, then the differences in feel are small, but I can feel them, and I'm a daily shaver. And so, you know, when somebody says they love a particular Jnat edge, you know, I you know, certainly never would argue with that. But in terms of strokes, that's really all there is. You don't have to do circles. You don't have to do X strokes. You want to do what you believe is necessary to get both the proper abrasion and whatever scratch pattern you want to see at the very apex. All right, lots of talking. I hadn't planned to go there. Well, this is very sharp. Okay, so that's real good. Maybe not as good there, but we're going to move on. Okay, so certainly sharper than it was when it came off the Hero. So we're going to do a few some laps on water, then some laps on soapy water, and I'll be out of your hair. hang on, I dropped my packing peanut. Never want to do that. Okay. And here I go slowly, and I'm doing that so that I can really focus in on the feel. And by the way, you can do this. You know, yeah, I've got a number of years of experience, but you know, you can do this. You don't need 15 years of sharpening on water stones to get to this. You can get this pretty quickly. And it's absolutely being pulled into the stone. All right, I don't want too much of that. Let's go to the antibacterial soap. Clearly you need antibacterial soap for this. You wouldn't want just the regular stuff. I mean, this stone could have COVID for all I know. All right. Scientifically create the proper components of a soapy solution here. And as you might know, I even have some glycerin around, but you know, this is handier. I mean, I'd have to reach up on a shelf above my head to get the glycerin, so that feels super, super good. Really good. All right, I think we're going to do some of these things. Okay, and so yet another stroke. And this is not about, this particular stroke for me is all about shaping. You can, you know, if you go back to the sandpaper model for this surface, as I drag the razor across, the abrasives sticking up out of the stone are pulling. If I go in this direction, they're pulling material in that direction. So not only is it removing material, it's pulling it away from the spine. So that we call that drawing out. And I want to see that. It may not make for the most beautiful edge, but again, I've found that tiny variations in the, I don't know, 1 to 3 micron range at the edge are undetectable by me and apparently by others, because a lot of pro edges that I've seen have also, you know, a small amount of toothiness in that range. That's sized in that range. Everybody seems to rave about these edges, so I don't notice it, and apparently others don't either. Now, admittedly, you know, I've got this super duper microscope, so when I see things under the microscope, I really want them to look perfect. But, you know, in reality, we're humans. We're pretty sensitive, but we manage to handle life with an awful lot of imperfection in it. So, all right, let's see what happens here. Let's see where we are. Oh, I didn't do any stropping. I might have to go do that and then come back. Luckily for you, I won't make you wait. Okay, here it is. Oh, that's very good. Yeah, that's really, really good. That's improved things a lot. Okay, let me go and do a little stropping. I'm going to pause you for that. Okay, 25 laps on fire hose linen strop hanging. Wow. Yeah, well, we're well into push into the cloud territory here. Well into it. I see no real reason to continue. I think I'll just do some wasted strokes here. Very, very light. Love the way this feels. You can see, well, hopefully you can see, I'll just tell you, I am just letting the razor ride. I'm pushing the razor. I'm not using any torque into the stone at all. Torque like that into the stone at all, and it is just riding beautifully on the surface. All right, we can do this all day. This is the thing that gets mesmerizing with Jnats. All right, I'm going to do final stropping, and then probably take an image to show to you, and then that'll be it. So I'll pause you. All right, I'm back, and I did 25 laps on the fire hose linen hanging strop, then 50 laps on my steer hide leather bench strop, and I'm gonna and here are the photos, microscope photos. So here's I'm talking over the photo of the heel at the moment, and I'm very happy with the condition of the edge. Then here is the condition of the edge at the very center of the razor, and generally speaking, this is the condition of the edge everywhere. Here is the condition of the edge at the toe. And the reason I'm showing you these three is to give you an indication that I did do a full scan of the edge, because here is what I found just at the center of the razor, slightly towards the heel. And now I have a puzzle. I was sloppy. I did not take a look at this edge with a loupe or any kind of magnification before I started. So I've got this divot in the edge, and it's not inconsiderable, right? It's a good it's a good it's a good 8 microns, right? So it's not small, and so 83 microns rather. It's not small, and it's that's in width, and it's it's something like 18 microns high. So the real question is, what do I do? It'd be nice to know. The sloppiness is a real problem, and I get aggravated when I do this, because now I don't know, was this a condition at the edge before I started, or did I do something on the stone? Is the Ozuku or one of the Naguras generating enough an oversized piece of abrasive that happened to hit the edge at this point? And that would be nice to know. I could potentially adjust for that. So I'm aggravated with myself, because all I needed to do was a little bit of inspection before I started, and then I would know whether this was a precondition of the sharpening or not. And the other thing is, if it was a preconditioning, I would know to take it out early. You notice I did no inspection until I got here to the very end of this. And so again, that's a little bit sloppy on my part. Anyway, what I did was since I don't know whether this was there before or not, I went back to the 4K synthetic removed this area. Then came up using the Nakayama because again I don't know whether that's something in the Ozuku stone. So came back to the Akoma Nagura on the Nakayama Jnat, and then this is the result. I'm only showing you a picture at the center because that's the condition of the whole edge. So anyway, there's a good example of me kind of screwing up in my own procedure. All right, thanks for staying with me, and I'll see you in the next one.